So, hi everybody, my name's Ahmad with AJT Properties. We're out here in beautiful Norton, Massachusetts on a cold day in March. I'm here with my good friend, Wayne Paul from Old Colony Construction.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Baker Street project. As Ahmad said, it is cold. We finally got winter. So there's a brand new build that we're doing out here. New construction, 4-bedroom house, 4-bed, 2.5 bath. Project of this scope, if you're going to be building it from scratch, you're going to hire your own contract. You're going to be spending somewhere between $400 and $500 a square foot. That would be a complete start to finish project.
How many square feet is this house roughly?
So finished living space, this house is about 2,800 square feet. We do have a bonus room above the garage that if we were to finish that out, that'd give us an additional about 800 square feet. So a total project square footage would be around 3,600, all said and done if they were finished the bonus room. Come on inside, we'll give you a tour.
All right, so here we are in this beautiful home. As you can see, high ceilings, big open floor plan.
So if you look up into the attic space, you'll see where the insulation has been painted.
Yeah.
That gray paint.
Yeah.
That's actually an intumescent paint. So what that means is if you were to have a fire in your attic, that paint that's on there actually acts as a fire retardant. And the reason that it's painted gray is so when the inspector comes in, he can look up to see that we actually have fire protection and we do have that paint that covers that insulation. So over here we're at the kitchen area. We got dining back here. This is going to be the living area. In this section over here, we got a fireplace that's going to be going in an electric fireplace. This whole house is actually green.
What do you mean by that?
So by green, it means we have all electric. So we have heat pumps, we have a well, we have 0 gas-fired or oil-fired appliances in this entire house. It's super energy efficient. We actually have it also set up for solar in the future. So this house would be netting pretty close to a 0 as far as for a carbon footprint.
Wow. And is it common for new construction homes to be very energy efficient?
Yes, now with the new codes, it's actually very common. And we do have to meet certain criteria and certain ratings to get your house to be performing more energy efficiently. This house in particular, we just went the extra step and made it closer towards a net 0.
Awesome. That's really cool.
So to my right and to my left, we got 3 bedrooms. So these are all kids' bedrooms. Behind me is the first floor full bathroom. So this will service all the kids. Attic access up above. If you notice in all the bedrooms, we have 9-foot ceilings. So those are the common ceiling heights throughout. In the living room kitchen area, those are 14-foot ceilings. And then as we get into the master bedroom, we have 13-foot ceilings.
Wow.
All right, so walking in from the garage, this is our mudroom area that we have here. 2-car garage with a nice little niche in the corner for a workspace, a bench, a motorcycle, anything you would want to put out there. Mudroom here, pantry. Behind me is the laundry room with a half bath, another closet behind me to my left. As we keep walking forward, this becomes the master bedroom with master closet and its own master bath over here. As we talked about before, we have 13-foot ceilings in the master as well as in the master bath.
Wow.
Yep, big beautiful walk-in shower, huge space.
You can already tell this is going to be a beautiful bathroom. Yep. Wow. And we got a nice little bonus room up here. Very neat.
So this is that added bonus room we talked about. Finished out, this gives us about another 800 square feet of finished living space. This would be a great bonus room if someone wanted to make an office or just to get away from the kids or a playroom or whatever. Some of the cool things that you might see up here is we actually have doorways cut in for storage. It's a 2-fold item where one, it's usable storage, but by code, anything that has greater than 25 square feet of space has to have access. In case you were to have a fire, the fire department can get in there and access all these voids. So if you look, we have a doorway here, here, and here as well. And this one can actually serve to get above the attic space in the master as well. So this feature right here, this is actually set up for a future mini split. And what a mini split does, it's a ductless heating system. So it'll do heating and cooling. So what we did was we ran the line sets through the wall and has this, and we have this set up for a future. As you can see, the line sets come down back in here and they run outside. And what that will do is that'll go to a condenser. We actually have the two line sets to go into the condenser. We have a drain as well that goes through the wall and travels outside. And like we said, this is set up for the future. So if the future owners want to finish the space and have heating and cooling, it's all set, ready to go.
All right, so we're now heading into the basement. Look at our systems and components. And you'll notice as we get down here, this place is like a freaking parking garage. I have never seen a basement this big, with high ceilings as well, not to mention, and all up-to-date brand new systems that Wayne's going to tell us about.
Yep. So behind me over here, this is our heating and cooling system. There's also a heat pump system. So similarly, we talked about upstairs, it works on a condenser. What this does is it'll take either warm air from outside and bring it in, or it'll remove hot air from inside and bring it out. And that's how these systems work. When we talk about heating and cooling, your air conditioning doesn't actually necessarily cool your house. What it does is it takes heat out of the air and expels it outside. When we spin the unit in reverse, we can take the heat from outside and bring it in to warm the house. These systems are actually good down to about 10 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
And they also have a backup heating coil if it gets extremely cold, that'll kick in, so you'll actually have constant heat. Over here is our water heater. As we talked about, where we're having a super energy efficient house, this is also a heat pump water heater. It has the same concept that it takes the heat out of it takes the warmth out of the basement air and puts it into the water. And that's how we actually heat our water in this house, which is really cool.
So right now we're stepping out onto the deck, the big beautiful deck, showing a big beautiful backyard. Still a work in progress. But yeah, Wayne, what can you tell us about the material used on the deck here?
So this particular material is Trex. It's a composite material. It's actually a cap composite. So what they do is they take an acrylic coating. They go over 95% post-consumer. So one of the things we like about this product, or rather composite decking, is just the life you're going to get out of this. So it's a little bit more money upfront cost, but you gain it in the life of the product, as well as the railing systems and everything else. So this deck should last the homeowners 30 to 40 years.
So it's a lot more durable than traditional
Exactly.
material used for a deck.
Exactly. So typically what's going to fail on this is the frame 30, 40 years down the road, not the deck itself.
For an average Joe to get into a new construction home, what are some of the hoops that he or she may have to jump through?
So it's actually a great question. So first and foremost, if you're starting off, you find yourself a lot of land, and what are the next steps? You need to have your land surveyed. You have civil engineer come in and actually give you a certified plot plan, as well as septic and or sewer markouts. From there, you need an architect. Design your house, come up with an actual set of plans. At that point, now that's when your builder will start to get involved, where we can actually price out the project. So we get that all the time, where people ask us, hey, how do we proceed, right? And unfortunately, there's not a lot that I can do as a builder until I have some more information. Right?
First, the land has to be surveyed. Does that mean that not all land is buildable?
That is correct. Not all land is actually buildable. So if you're looking at a piece of property, one of the first things you do after you find a lot is to go to the building department, into town hall in that town, and start asking questions. I would go to the building department, I would go to engineering and say, this is the lot that I'm looking at. What are some concerns I might have? Is it a buildable lot? Sometimes you might find out that it's either in a floodplain, or sometimes, even though the lot size might be a good sized lot. They just don't have enough street frontage, or your setbacks might be too tight. So definitely starting at the town hall is going to be your first step.
So when we talk about new construction, a lot of people may wonder, how do you pay for a project like this? It's not a traditional home that you just go and buy. There's a few different options. You can use a hard money lender. You can use lenders that specifically lend for new construction. Lately, with the higher interest rates in the 2022-2023 fiscal year, a lot of people have actually reported that new construction has lower interest rate than a traditional mortgage on a home. So there is a lot of different information you can get out there on this, but really the big thing is figuring out how you're going to pay for the land, the material, and your builder. Mm-hmm. So how would somebody go about paying for your project?
So, like Ahmad said, once you secure your financing, whether that's through traditional lending, through hard money lending, or cash, however you guys decide that you're going to pay for this, right? Now, once I get involved as your builder, I'm going to be setting a payment schedule. Okay. Some people will do a third. Me personally, I like to do benchmarks where I have a payment schedule. All of my payments are set up on tangible items. For example, when we dig the foundation, upon completion of the excavation is a payment. Once the foundation in is also another payment. So that's how I have it set up. And that's something that you'll have to discuss with your individual builder as you get into your project.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. That kind of makes sense to set it up that way so that you're paying as you go.
Yep.
And you're at the same time building trust between your client and the builder, right?
Correct. And that's just something that I particularly like to do, because that way everyone can keep track of the job. I can make sure that the client is paying me on time, as well as the client can be reassured that I'm doing the project,
yeah,
and I'm not getting ahead of them. Yeah. So, and it's just, like I said, for me particularly, I like to set my jobs up that way. There's no confusion. You can come by, see the work that has been done,
and
exactly, and then say, hey, we're at this level, we're at this benchmark. Now it's time to have a disbursement.
Okay. And the last question is, as Wayne has already demonstrated, early on in this project, you're getting a lot of outside involvement. You have to do a lot of surveys, a lot of back and forth with municipalities, permitting, that type of stuff. So once the project is actually underway, how often would you say, or how frequent is it to have to stop and have to do different things with permits, inspections, those types of things?
Okay. So your inspection schedule would basically go as follows. So on a new construction and something like this, we can have an excavation inspection. So the inspector is going to come out, make sure that you have suitable soils that we can actually support a house. After your excavation inspection is completed, you're going to have a footing and foundation inspection. So when the footing is in, they'll inspect the footing and make sure that that's correct, and then a foundation inspection. From there, as we move through the project, we're going to have plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and then finally, my building inspection is the last. And a lot of people also get confused by that. Like, well, your shell's up, your building's up. Why wouldn't I get a rough frame inspection before all these other contractors come in? And the reason for that is actually for your protection, because there are a lot of people out there that will do some shady stuff, and they'll cut through materials or beams or whatever that they shouldn't necessarily be touching. And that's why my frame inspection is always last.
Right.
And then from there, we'll go on to insulation, and then we'll start getting our final inspections.
Right.
So once we start to blue board and plaster, and our subs are coming in and doing their final work, final electrical, final plumbing, and then, like I said, my inspection will always be last.
Awesome. And if I'm understanding you correctly, this sort of serves to make sure that no corners are being cut, right, and everything's being built. Correct.
So there you have it, guys. My name's Ahmad with AJT Properties. This is Wayne with Old Colony Construction, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned a thing or two.